So you're thinking about starting to stream on Whatnot, and you're probably wondering, where do I even begin? Because it all seems super overwhelming. Well, that's why in this video, I'll explain the full guide to setting up your stream and begin selling on Whatnot. Now, Whatnot is a live stream shopping platform where people buy and sell items in real time. Think of it as eBay meets Twitch. And if you position yourself correctly, it can be an awesome way to earn some additional income. You can create a bit of a side hustle for yourself and build a brand, and potentially it can even become a full-time gig. I honestly think one of the best parts about streaming on Whatnot is how it naturally lets you turn a hobby that you enjoy into something that can actually start to bring in a little bit of income along the way. So even though it can begin as something fun that you just do on the side, if you want to, it can actually grow into something much more meaningful, and there's definitely a lot of opportunities for it to become a full-time gig. The biggest hurdle to overcome is just getting started, and that's exactly what this video is here to help you to do. Now, if you do want to skip to a specific section, the video will have video chapters, so feel free to jump ahead if there's a specific section you're looking for. Now, before I get into it, if you are a first timer on Whatnot, well, guess what? I do actually have a $15 credit for you to use on the app. If you do sign up using my referral link on screen right here, you will get a $15 credit to spend on the app. Now, today's video is sponsored by Whatnot, and I actually stream a lot on Whatnot myself. And if you do head to my profile, you actually see my upcoming streams. And as you can see here, you can just feel free to bookmark any of my show and you'll be notified when I'm live. Feel free to head to the link in the description or just scan the QR code appearing on screen to redeem your $15 credit. A big thanks to Whatnot for supporting the channel. Now let's get back into this guide. So something that I've personally found that helps a lot is by having an audience-focused mindset. So I've actually learned it works really well when I put a lot of focus on the viewer's experience, because at the end of the day, if people enjoy watching my streams, they're gonna come to the next show, and that's super important for longevity. By thinking of the viewer and what actually benefits them, you'll naturally become a better streamer as you're providing the best experience for the person watching. One thing I've noticed when you're starting out with streaming is that the thought of it can feel a little bit overwhelming because there's a lot of moving parts, but I've actually found when you break the process down, it actually starts feeling much more simpler than expected. The main area I've noticed is that people who watch live content, they watch it for the authenticity and the feeling of like you're in the same room as someone. So if you're anything like me, I actually find that when you break things down into smaller, simpler steps, it makes it feel much more manageable and a lot easier just to get started. So that's why I found that there's 5 areas to focus on when you are live. Area 1 is making sure your stream is functioning and working. Area 2 is keeping track with the viewers and what's actually happening in the chat. Area 3 is keeping track with orders and payments that are going through. Area 4 is entertainment. That means with everything that's happening, with the technical things, with orders going through, you still need to be making sure that you're providing an entertaining experience. And area 5 is communication. It's explaining the process. You need to constantly communicate to your audience what you're doing and what's going to be happening next, and you need to keep them engaged in your stream. So because all these things are on your mind, the only way to stream well is just to be yourself and just get comfortable. And I know that can be hard because like, hey, you go, oh, well, what are they gonna think about me? Are they gonna think, all these things go through your mind. I know it best because I've streamed a lot. But the best thing is when you're streaming, just let yourself go, man. Be chill, be easy, and people are just gonna connect with you if they can see that you're having a good time. So don't worry about getting a perfect stream. Like I said before, it's about, think about what the audience wants. They just want you to be yourself as well. And that's something you do need to keep in mind. Okay, now that that's out the way, let's get into what you actually need to begin streaming, particularly the equipment. Having the right equipment is key because Whatnot is focused on phone users, and it's a good idea to set yourself up to be filming vertically so you're optimized for smartphone viewing experiences. Now, in terms of what you need to start streaming, you will need a camera or a smartphone. For this guide, I'll be using my iPhone as my camera, but you can also use a DSLR or a 4K camera that you own, though this guide is focused all on smartphones for simplicity. Now also, you will need a tripod to hold your camera or a phone grip. This is essential as it keeps it stable and it will just make it much easier throughout the process. I also recommend having a lighting source to light up your scene. Honestly, having a light makes a big difference and it makes you stand out from the competition. Now, having a microphone is a great idea as proper audio quality really makes a big difference to your stream. I personally use the Rode PodMic USB and that just connects very easily to my laptop. Now, another area that's very important, you also want an Ethernet cable to hardwire your your internet connection, but I highly recommend it as Whatnot streaming is as close to real-time live videos as you can get, and this helps keep your stream very stable. Finally, I really recommend having a laptop or a desktop with a face camera as well. I'm gonna speak more about why you should show your face while streaming a bit later on, and it's a very important aspect as well. Now, they are the basics that you'll need, though in terms of software, this is very important. Even though you can stream directly from your phone, it's far better to stream from a laptop or desktop because this way you can actually gain more control over your stream. Now, for the software that you'll need, you will need OBS Studio. OBS Studio is a free program that lets you record or live stream your screen, camera, and audio all at once. Whatnot actually links with OBS Studio, so this is the preferred streaming software. Now, a lot of streams require a multi-cam setup, so you also want an app to connect your phone's camera to OBS. I personally use DroidCam. It's really easy to use, works very well with OBS, and provides very good image quality as well. Now, once you have all of that, let's talk about setting yourself up in OBS. All right, now that that's all out the way, let's talk about how you can connect your OBS Studio to Whatnot. Now, when I started streaming on Whatnot, I was a bit confused with this, but honestly, once you learn the system, it's actually super easy and probably the best way to stream. Once you nail this setup, streaming on Whatnot is literally a one button click to set yourself up. And I know it can seem a little bit complicated at first, but honestly, throughout this guide, I'm sure that once you watch this, it's gonna be very easy to do. So the first thing you wanna do is you wanna click on your profile. I'm on a Mac, but if you're on a Windows, same thing, you click new, and I'm gonna call this my Whatnot stream setup. When you're here, you're gonna get a auto configuration wizard. What you wanna do here is you wanna be clicking here, I will only be using the virtual camera. The reason why you wanna do that is you don't want any other settings to override. You want it to be very super simple and easy to do. Now, once you're here, what you wanna do is you actually wanna go to your seller hub on Whatnot. Now, on here, I'm on Whatnot's seller hub, as you can see my upcoming shows. And then right here, where there's shows, if you click that drop down arrow, you will see something known as show tools. Now, once you're here, if you scroll to the bottom, you will see here where it has your WebSocket server and all that. This is how you're gonna be connecting OBS with Whatnot. Now, when you go back to OBS here, you will see that there is a tool section. Click tools and then click WebSocket server settings. Now here on your server port, you wanna make sure that it's set to 4455, and you also wanna make sure that you've enabled your WebSocket server. And also you wanna make sure that you've clicked enable authentication. And right here on there, you also wanna add your password that you create yourself to connect to your WebSocket server. Once you all have that, you wanna click here on the bottom left, apply, and then click OK. Now, once you do all your web server settings and create that and you've clicked apply, it's very important that you actually restart your computer. Now, back in the OBS WebSocket server, once you have your password, add that here and then click connect. And as you can see right there, it has identified it to OBS. Now here, like I said about that profile section, that's so important. So now that it's connected, you can see on my OBS profile, it says Whatnot stream setup. Now, because I haven't actually updated this profile for the first time, the first thing I'm gonna do is click update profile first time setup only. And here you go. Once you do that, it's gonna have a red bar. Now, this is super important because this doesn't mean that the process failed. This just shows you what settings weren't able to be transferred over. But here you can see in this important section that there's a few areas that you need to change manually that Whatnot wasn't able to complete. These are now the output settings that you need to change manually. So right here, when you're inside OBS, you wanna click settings. Once you're on settings, you want to head to output. Now, right here on these encoder settings is the area that we're going to be changing. So on the rate control, you want to make sure that's set to CBR. On the bitrate, you want to change that to 3500. On the keyframe interval, you must set this to 2 seconds. That's very important. That is a very important setting. That doesn't mean that your stream's going to be delayed in any way. It's just the right setup for Whatnot. Make sure you do that. And then here on your tune, you wanna click 0 latency. Once that's done, you just wanna click OK. And right here, now your profile is ready and you can start setting up your stream. So here I'm gonna actually be showing you how I set up my streams. And also you wanna make sure that you have DroidCam downloaded on your phone. Once you have those, I'm gonna show you how we go from here. So now when you're here, it's about setting up your stream. As you can see here on OBS, you have a thing known as sources. How sources work is essentially it's your Lego blocks of how you want your stream to look. You have your little vertical screen and you you can place whatever you want and you can add different sources. And I'm gonna be showing you what I'm doing there right now. So as I said before, all the things you need, I've got my phone grip. You can also have a tripod. This is like a little custom phone grip I just made, and I'm gonna place that here. I also have, as you can see here, my Rode pod mic, as I mentioned before. You wanna make sure that that's around if you're using one, and that's also right here for me because that will be my main audio source. And of course, I also have for my Ethernet port, my little adapter as well. Right here on the Mac, I can actually connect here, and that gives me a hardwired connection. And also you do wanna have that light source like I mentioned, because it just makes a little bit of a difference, especially when there's so much competition on streaming. You do wanna stand out when someone clicks on your profile and they're watching your stream, they're like, wow, this looks really good. And production quality does make a big difference. So right here on our sources, they're our building blocks for our stream. So we can essentially place everything of how we want it to look. So the first thing, the first source, I wanna get my actual face cam showing on my stream. So here I just click plus, and you can see you've got all these different categories. I'm gonna just click video capture device. And right here, I'm gonna call this my face cam, and I'm gonna click OK. And then on the device list here, whatever, like if you've got a webcam connected or if you have another camera connected, that's gonna show here. Right now, I'm just gonna use my FaceTime HD camera, which is available. And there you can see right there, there's my HD camera, and I'm gonna just click OK there. Now, once you're in OBS, you can just move it on how you feel. So for example, I'm just gonna move that here, and you can play around with this to kind of set it up on how you want your stream to look. And there you go. I've just set up where my face cam is going to be on my stream. Now, the next thing is you want to add your audio source. So I'm going to be choosing my Rode video mic. So audio input capture, and I'm just going to call this Rode pod mic right there. And then devices, as you can see, my Rode pod mic USB is available as a source. I'm just going to choose that. Now here on OBS, you can see right there that my Rode pod mic is also available right there. And I can actually just change on how much that volume is there, or as well, if I click here, I can mute that as well. Now, the next step is I wanna add my DroidCam to OBS. Now, if you wanna add DroidCam, you do need to download DroidCam for OBS. If you scroll to the bottom, you'll see if it's available for Windows or Mac, and you must download that in order to connect your DroidCam to OBS. Once that's downloaded, if you click plus here, you will see that DroidCam OBS is available as an option. I'm gonna just click that right now, and I'm gonna click OK. Now here you can see when you click these settings, you can see the resolution that your DroidCam is gonna be outputting. I personally like doing 1280 x 720. Now, once we're here, if you scroll down on the bottom, you'll see that there's your Wi-Fi IP and your DroidCam port. What you need to do is you need to add your Wi-Fi IP address and along your DroidCam port. Now, what you do is when you look at your DroidCam app on your phone, it will show you the Wi-Fi IP as well. You just want to put your Wi-Fi IP right there, and you also want your DroidCam port. Once you click that, you just click activate, and then that is actually going to sync your DroidCam onto OBS. And just like that, there you go. You can see my DroidCam is now connected to my OBS. And as I'm moving my hands, you can see it's also showing right there what's happening on my phone's camera is now also syncing with my OBS because of that port. Now here you just want to set it up. So I'm going to just move that to see where, like whatever that thing you're doing on streaming, you want to make sure it looks good. So obviously I open a lot of packs. So for example, I can see that my pack's there. On here, that's not really here. I can just click manual focus on my OBS, and I'm just now putting that so it's nice and sharp. Then I can kind of transform it right here within OBS. So I'm just gonna open that up a little bit, and I'm gonna make sure that that's a nice, clean image. Now, another thing is you do want a light source as well. It does actually make a big difference. So once you turn that on, you can just figure out where you wanna place it. Sometimes I just place it on the side there, and that actually just lights up my scene really well, as you can see right here. And right there, I'm actually super happy with what that looks like on my OBS. So if I was going on whatnot, you would be able to see I've got that multi-cam setup. Same thing here with singles. When you got that light source, it really does make a big difference for your viewers watching because they get a very clean overview, especially if you're selling trading cards and singles. People do want to see the quality, and when you have a well-lit scene and your audio is good and everything looks clean, they have much more confidence purchasing what they're seeing. Now, once that's all set up and you've connected your WebSocket server and everything's connected, when you're back in your show tools, all you need to do right here is you just click start show. And once you follow this tutorial and you've set that all up, streaming, like I said, is literally a click of a button. Okay, once you've got all the technical setups out the way, I think we need to speak about building trust with your audience. Okay, so one thing I've noticed from watching heaps of streamers and streaming myself, I've really seen the importance of having a face cam. Now, this obviously isn't essential, and there's plenty of super successful streamers who never use one, though it's something I really encourage because it does does level up your streams, and there's a few reasons for this. When you're new to streaming, having your face on stream builds a lot of trust. Now, not only does it provide trust, okay, but I've also found that when you're showing your face on stream, it gives a lot of context to what's happening, and I find it's very useful when streaming because your audience can get an idea what's happening because it has two different perspectives. And this is important because when you're live, mistakes can happen, and guess what? They will happen. So for example, if something happens, okay, like I need to fix my chair quickly, or something happened and I need to adjust something, by having a face cam, it's giving my audience context on the situation. So for TCG, the most important aspect when you're streaming, especially for any trading card content or if you're opening packs, is that everything always needs to be in frame. You should never ever move anything off frame while you're streaming. But of course, if you stream for hundreds and hundreds of hours, there may come a time when the chat asks a question, or something says something and your mind goes somewhere else, or something happens with your chair and you move it. And if you've been streaming for over 2 hours and you just accidentally move something, or you need to adjust your setup, or your phone falls out of your tripod in the middle of opening a pack, well, guess what? When you have a face cam, you're constantly giving your audience context on the situation, and it helps guide those natural human errors. The audience can see your reaction. They can see what's happening. This is the most important aspect to building trust. The reason I'm telling you this is because I have a lot of experience while streaming, and I know the difference it makes when you're showing your face, and especially because I know how common mistakes are when streaming. I mean, during my hours of streaming, there's been so many mistakes I've made. I've had my stream lose connection. My friends have called me during my stream and my phone has completely lost connection. All these things can happen, and the longer you stream, it's more likely they will happen as well. And another thing is, even if one camera stops working or something happens, your audience can just see what's happening. Now, truthfully, the bigger and the more trust you build, your following will naturally just understand this, and your audience will give you a lot more passes. So in the position that I'm in now, and a lot of other streamers, if they did make a mistake on stream or something happened, because there's months and months of building the ground and building that trust, even if I make a mistake, I know full confidence that my audience is gonna be like, hey, all good, Phil, we know mistakes happen. But guess what? If I was a new streamer, right, and I was just starting out, any mistake that I make, it could be up for criticism. And that's why you do need to be very careful with this. And that's why I really recommend it. If you are gonna start streaming on whatnot, my biggest recommendation to any newcomer is get a multi-camera setup, one that's showing your face and one that's showing what's actually happening during the stream. Now, in terms of marketing and building an audience, the first thing I'd recommend is always having a stream scheduled on your profile while you're streaming, because this makes sure that when someone ends your stream, they can already bookmark the next stream that's already scheduled in the platform. Now, another area I found super helpful is by building a Discord, because I can actually always just notify my audience and ping them and let them know when I'm live. And I found this super helpful as it starts the stream's momentum straight away. If you do want to see how I use my Discord to promote my streams and how I set up events, you can actually see that in my Discord. The server invite is in the video's description. The key to streaming is literally learn to be yourself, because everyone else is taken. And if mistakes happen, laugh it off and just keep getting back on the horse. When you start streaming, you're gonna fall off the horse much more than you're gonna ride the horse, but you just gotta keep getting back on. So I've been surfing a lot lately, and I think the lessons I've learned from surfing can actually be applied to streaming as well. So my surf coach, he's been teaching me, hey Phil, when you pop up on your surfboard, this is where your feet need to go, this is where you need to be looking, and he's kind of showed me the technicality of it. Now, every time I'm trying to catch a bigger wave, I'm always looking at my feet, and I'm always just so nervous of what's happening, and I can't just seem to get in the flow of it. And I went to my surf coach and I said, hey, every time I go on a bigger wave, I'm really struggling. And he said to me, Phil, when you catch a big wave, you really cannot think where your feet are gonna land. Whenever you're getting a bigger wave, you just need to trust and let your body handle it. It's the art of trusting your training and just letting it go. And streaming is the exact same. Practice how to stream when you're alone, get into the habit of it, but when you're streaming and when you're live, that's when you just need to trust and let your own body handle it. All you need to focus on is being yourself and making a genuine connection with the audience. Though in terms of building an audience, Whatnot is an engaging way to connect with your community, and honestly, there's a heap of ways to grow your channel. Though if you did enjoy this video and want to learn more about the world of Pokemon cards and Pokemon investing, I do actually break all that down in this video on screen right here. If you are enjoying the world of Pokemon and you want to learn more about it, definitely feel free to click the video on screen. Really appreciate you watching. Best of luck on streaming. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.